Now we got SnareRush from the UK, and I believe Nevdi is from Australia, so this is going to be kind of a weird time zone for both of them. Starting always in Siri Station. Got some nice sync going up. As they finish off their series Ridley fights, I believe Snare took a body hit, which does slightly less damage, so he's going to have to take one more hit. Which means Nevdi might pull out this one first. Ooh, it's an unlucky start, Steam RNG for Nevdi. Ooh, and both runners having a little bit of trouble. In this final room, Steam is a gigantic troll. The Snare gets out with a 39, and Nevdi gets out with a 35, so not the end of the world. Steam RNG in series is always gonna cause a lot of trouble. Yeah, we'll be seeing soon whether one or both or neither runners are going to be using Moonwalk and therefore Moonfall. There are two really big Moonfalls in the game, which can save a small amount of time. It's the climb is the first one, and the second one's during the escape. So we've got Snare definitely using it, with a nice Moonfall and Parlor too. And Nevdi misses the first one but gets the backup. So it looks like they're both using it. Now I believe both these runners are old route runners, and given that their PB times are pretty similar, I imagine they'll take the same amount of safeties. So most of this run is going to come down to movement in between bosses and to some extent boss RNG. So both runners picking up the first missiles needed to awaken the planet. The enemies don't actually appear until you shoot through a flashing door, which happens after this next room with space pirates in. So now we'll get to see what kind of climb that Snare's going to use. It looks like he's going for a wall jump climb. And Nevdi also doing a wall jump climb. Snare's climb was really clean. His movement is looking on point. It's going to be about a 5-minute bomb pickup, which is a really good time. Almost 5 on the nose. Like 5-minute bomb timing, but like sub 5 is a really, really good time. And Nevdi is going to be about 524. Nice clean BT fight from Snare. Now we come up to the true boss of Super Metroid, the Alcatraz escape, and Snare gets it first time. Yeah, sadly, no BT skips this time. If this was a PAL tournament, we would be going for that one for sure. So Nevdi making it out. Snare's choosing to super some of these, well, all of the space pirates. It's usually kind of a new route strat because you need to save as much health as you can, but you can also, for more safety in old route, do that too. Does mean he's going to have to shoot 2 of these green dudes for missile drops to open the next red door. Ooh, yikes. So he got the first one. If you get hit, it stops the missile drops being 100%. So he got trolled with a health drop. Unfortunately, there was a third one he could shoot for missiles. So he shall pick up his first sequence break super missiles. If not for this trick, if not from being able to mock ball across this bridge before the gates close, you'd have to go fight Spore Spawn. Which doesn't really get seen outside of Spore Spawn RTA and maybe 100% map. Which is sad. Everyone loves him. In the randomizer tournament recently, we've been seeing a bit more Spore Spawn, which is kind of awesome. So we got SnareRush picking up his charge beam. It's unless you pick up a ton of ammunition, it's kind of necessary for killing bosses. Gets a very nice Green Hills mock ball. And Nevdi picking up his charge beam too, as SnareRush makes his way across the new bridge. Now here, if either runner was running new route, they would be going up this tower, but both of them will be going down to be fighting Creed first. Now there would be the option for Snare to pick up Spazer here. For runners who like doing X-Factor strats on bosses later on, picking up Spazer means having to turn off Spazer Beam in the menu later, so in general it can be a time loss if your X-Factors are good. Ooh, and a really nice Key Hunter boost. As he makes his way into Crave. Both runners get the really nice 3 super breaking the blocks. It's a really nice strat. So we got Snare lining up for his quick kill. With missile selected, looks like he's going for the missile one. Nice, and he gets it super clean. And about a 10:36 Varia. Again, anything sub 11 is really good. And we got like Nevdi's going for the charge shot setup. Ooh, and he shot that first super a little bit too late. Kraid's mouth was a bit too wide, so it's not going to get stuck. But he's a nice recovery, and he didn't waste too much time fighting Kraid. The charge shot setup means having to shoot 4 supers instead of 3, but is a little bit more lenient with freezing his hand out of the way. So both runners now have their Varia suit, which will protect them from heat damage, which makes the runs through upper Norfair much easier and much safer. It also protects from Rainbow Beam in the final Mother Brain boss fight. So we got Snare going down to pick up his high jump boots. There's an option, there's sort of 3 points in Old Route where runners could pick up ice if they want to. There's the very early ice where you get it before going to Bubble Mountain. There's sort of normal early ice where you get it coming out from Bubble Mountain. And then there's late ice where you have fought 3 bosses and then you get ice before the last boss fight. Now, if they're doing X Factor strats, then they'll be wanting to pick up ice last, again to save time from having to menu to turn it back off again. So Snare is making his way across Cathedral towards Ball Mountain, where he will pick up his speed booster for going fast and his wave beam for shooting through things and for doing more damage. Wave beam is essential for doing the X Factor strats, where you just want charge beam and wave beam enabled. And with late ice, you pick it up on the way down to Ridley because there's no disadvantage for having it from then on, seeing as you're using plasma charge shots for killing Ridley anyway. Ice does more damage, so you want it to speed up Ridley's fight rather than picking it up on the way back out to Torian again. So Nevdi's following into Bubble Mountain, using Moonwalk to back up into the door, and he looks like he's holding a pseudo screw shot. So he's holding a charge shot and spin jumping, which should kill the King Cac on contact if he hits him, to avoid getting trolled and knocked back down to the bottom again. So Nevdi truly is the king of the mountain this time. Snare's entering the real worst room in the game, double chamber. Navigates the first half of it nicely. It's possible to fall down through those platforms, and if you do, it can be tricky to get back up again. With them moving up and down, it's hard to sometimes weave between them. I imagine Nevdi's going to have to farm here for a couple of supers at least. Ooh, wow. 4 supers in one farm. Dang, son. So Snare's going to be working his way now back out, going down the bottom way with Speed Booster, as he's going to work his way back up Red Tower and then head towards the wreck ship to fight Phantoon, which is the main source of RNG in the run. Phantoon has 3 different patterns. He's got a fast one, a slow one, and a medium one. And the difference between a fast and a mid is about 8 seconds, and a fast and a slow is about 16 seconds. So, given that each runner needs a minimum of 2 rounds to fight them, it can add about 30 seconds between, the 2 best patterns and the 2 worst ones. Ooh, SnareRush getting the Alpha Spark. I love it. Those rooms are really, there's no kind of nice way of working through them, and that Spark kind of takes all the trouble out of it at the cost of some health. And Snare having a little bit of trouble, but gets up Red Tower second try, so nicely done. So we got SnareRush picking up Alpha Power Bombs, and it looks like Nevdi's also setting up for Alpha Spark. Ooh, and he gets it nice. 2 very nice D-boosts from SnareRush too. Falling in those flowers always feels terrible, and it adds up as a time loss. So he's going to be opening all of the yellow doors on his way through to avoid having to do them on the way back. And Nevdi getting a super clean first try Red Tower. It's going to help him catch up a little bit. Snare's having a little bit of trouble setting up the Shine Spark across the moat, but he gets it eventually. And Nevdi also gets a very clean Alpha Power Bombs room. No Vile Plumes were fed today. And Snare's Spark slightly too high and bonks into the ceiling. He's going to have to set that one up again. But he gets the Spark across the ocean, and he is into the wreck ship. Nevdi getting really unlucky, and getting 0 power bomb drops from the crabs. As he sets up his Spark across the moat. We got SnareRush starting his Phantoon fight. With 2 power bombs, SnareRush could do, if he's deciding to do X Factors, he could do 2 different, yeah, 2 X Factors total. Like, usually runners will do 1 in the first round and then use missiles for the second round. But he might just be going for a missile kill here. Looks like he's going to be fighting using Dopplers. So he got about 3 missiles in the first Doppler. This will probably turn it into a 3-round fight, or maybe even a 4-round fight, depending on how good the Dopplers are. Nevdi having power bombs selected in his Phantoon fight means he's almost definitely going to be doing an X Factor for the first round. And that first fast pattern for Nevdi is a really difficult one to hit, so instead of wasting his power bomb, he deselects it and is going to try for the second time. And Snare finishes off his Phantoon. It's a pretty tidy 3-round. So Nevdi getting trolled with a fast on the first one and a slow on the second one. But he, oh, very nice, he gets that X Factor. Now, with the missiles he did in the first one, it's going to make this third round much easier. He's probably only going to have to shoot a couple missiles and then a super. But he just misses the eye opening. You have to wait for Phantoon to reappear. And he finishes off his Phantoon. So now both runners are going to be picking up these super missiles and working their way up through the attic and then back down through bowling to pick up their gravity suits, which is going to let them move freely through water, and they will be going into Meridia to fight Dragon. So Snare is going to do sort of a new route attic, using ammo to kill them rather than shine sparking. He got a lot of ammo drops from Phantoon though, so his ammo count's looking pretty good. So he's going to make his way through the bowling spikes and into the arms of Bowling Torizo. So he'll get a nice short break here while the cutscene plays. It's kind of a nice break halfway through the run. And Nevdi gets a really nice shine spark through attic. His health is a little bit low, so he's probably going to want to farm up a little bit before going across bowling. In general, you sort of want maybe a tank and a half or 2 tanks of health, just so that if you accidentally take too many hits on the spikes, then they do quite a lot of damage quite quickly. So we got a just under 24-minute gravity suit for SnareRush, which is a really nice time. Nevdi makes it across bowling with a calculated 69 health. He could have taken an extra spike hit, so he was reasonably safe. But yeah, both runners are actually looking in really good shape ammo-wise. Nevdi's going to have to make the decision of where to get health back as he works his way towards Meridia. His 2 options really are farming in Hellway, which is the room SnareRush is about to work into, or he can go visit Slota's refill. Or the third option is to kind of YOLO it and hope that you don't take many hits from Botwoon, because you will be getting an energy tank afterwards, so it's sort of a free refill. But it does make the spark up into Botwoon and the fight itself a little bit scary. He's got Snare doing a really nice D-boost into on his way towards the tube, which he will have to break using a power bomb before going up into Meridia. So it looks like Nevdi's going to try and farm these enemies in Hellway. And 167 health, you should be fine. So we got SnareRush sparking up to the top of Mount Everest, and then working his way into Aqueduct. Now the Botwoon fight, a lot of people will open using an X Factor, which can be slightly tricky to time, but if they get it right, then all 4 particles do 300 damage each, so with Botwoon having 3000 health, 1200 damage is nearly half, so... and it looks like Snare gets all particles, and he gets a really clean 1-round Botwoon. It's really nice. That was super slick. So he'll be picking up Botwoon's energy tank now, and using Speed Booster to break these blocks. I imagine he'll be going for a halfie, which involves storing a Shine Spark at the bottom of this room, jumping to the top, and then sparking through the door, which he gets with no trouble. So there's 2 versions of this trick. There's the normal halfie, which SnareRush did, or there's the full halfie, where if you can get up to the top of the room faster, you can run through the door and then jump slightly higher and clear through the whole room instead of just half the room. And Nevdi tried a similar setup for that X Factor, but he jumped a little bit late, so the particles actually all hit Botwoon's body, meaning Botwoon still needs about 10 supers to kill. And Nevdi wants to be careful taking damage. Botwoon hits pretty hard. As Snare starts his Dragon fight, it looks like he's also going to try an X Factor setup on this one. So he's going to store a charge. So he misses the first short charge, meaning this fight is going to be a little bit tougher. As Dragon is not cooperating and decides to swoop a lot. In general, when Dragon is gooping, that's the time to be sparking. As Nevdi also gets his halfie. SnareRush hits with a good spark. So maybe 2 more sparks for SnareRush will finish Dragon off. Oh, only 1. Nice. Now, he did get blue suit, but he held run straight afterwards, which means he's not going to have blue suit for doing reverse halfie, which is the fastest way of exiting this boss. But he picks up his space jump, which is going to help a lot with movement throughout the rest of the run. It's kind of a rhythm-based infinite jump. But Nevdi gets a couple of really nice opening sparks. And it looks like it's just going to be one more to finish off his Dragon. And he finishes off Dragon really nicely. That was a really clean fight from Nevdi. And he keeps his blue suit. Meaning if Nevdi doesn't press run, he's basically got a Shine Spark stored forever. If he presses down, then it will act as if he's just charged a Shine Spark and he'll be able to spark. So he's going to be walking and not running his way back to Aqueduct, where he will activate the spark and then spark back across that room. Ooh, and Snare set up for Plasma Spark and very nearly got it. As we see Nevdi sparking back across Colosseum. Plasma Spark is an incredibly difficult trick. The timing on it is very, very tight. So SnareRush picks up his last item, well, the last combat item anyways, of Plasma Beam. I only pick up Ice Beam later actually. But Plasma Beam does an incredible amount of damage. And it's going to let him finish off Ridley and Mother Brain much, much faster than anything else in the game, really. So Nevdi not taking any chances and shooting those pancakes before they get him. As we see the power of space jump, with Snare flying across this room at maximum speed. Nevdi also picks up his Plasma Beam. So now both runners will be working their way back down towards Lower North Air, picking up Ice Beam on the way. They'll have a choice between going northern route or southern route. I believe optimally southern route is slightly faster, and it gives you the option of a health refill. But it's not a huge difference, and it really just comes down to preference for the runners. If people have been doing a lot of early ice, then they never see southern route really. So a lot of runners who have transitioned from late ice to early ice will carry on doing northern route. As SnareRush picks up his Ice Beam, the decision to go north or south happens after the next room's exit. You can either power bomb your way down into the south or carry on up top through and go to the north. It looks like Snare is going to go southern. So we can see which way Nevdi is going to go soon too. So it's still a really close race. They're basically only sort of 3 or 4 rooms apart. And Snare gets a really nice space jump, space boost through those speed blocks, and doesn't bonk on the door, which lets him keep his momentum through the whole thing. Very clean, very clean. So Nevdi is also going to go through the southern route. And SnareRush makes his way down into Lower North Air to be fighting the last regular boss needed to activate the elevator down into Torian. Looks like he's going to set up for a fast pillars attempt. And he's doing the space boost strat. I love this one. That's my personal favorite. It's a really fast way of getting through that room, and it preserves your health too. The short charge needed for that is quite difficult, and it's quite precise. But he nails it first try. The backup for that is having to powerbomb your way through all the blocks, and that takes a while, and you're then left with fewer powerbombs, and you're going to have to kind of slightly alter your strats in later rooms. But saving those powerbombs means you can do the fastest possible way through the rest of this section. So it looks like Nevdi is going to powerbomb his way through these blocks. It's a much more consistent but safer strat, really. And Snare is going into his Metal Pirate room. And Nevdi's taking a slightly safer way through worst room in the game by killing all of the pirates first. Given his health situation, he really doesn't want to be taking many hits unnecessarily, so I completely understand taking this one a bit more safely. Looks like Snare's going to farm for a couple more super missiles. Super missiles do double damage to Ridley, so they are the fastest way of killing him in terms of raw DPS. With this beam combination, it's 20 shots, 20 charge shots to kill him, or 30 super missiles to kill him. So Snare's going to be leading out with charge shots on his Ridley fight, and Nevdi does a bomb spread for the red key hunter shaft. That's kind of a consequence I mentioned earlier of using power bombs to go through the pillars room. Snare's getting a really clean Ridley fight so far. He's taken a few hits, but he should be fine, and he finishes off that fight just with Plasma Beam. So his ammo for Torian is looking perfect right now. He has an optional safety here of taking Ridley's Z-Tank, but it looks like he's not going to take it. He's got a lot of health, and the runners need 3 tanks minimum to survive the Mother Brain fight. So on 4 tanks, he will be... It gives him some leeway for taking damage. So Nevdi's starting his Ridley fight. He's going to have to be slightly more careful with his health. But it's looking clean so far. Ridley's tail can be a bit of a troll and absorb the shots. The shots only do damage if they hit Ridley's body. And he's taking a few hits in the exit, but Ridley grabs him, and he's got enough health. So his decision now will be whether to grab Ridley's Z-Tank or not. And it looks like he's going to. I completely agree with this one. The enemies in Lower Norfair do a lot of damage, and it's better to be safe and lose maybe 15 seconds grabbing this E-tank and then not having to be so careful on the exit. And obviously dying is really bad. So we've yet to see, but I kind of doubt that either runner will make any saves. So a death is really the end of the run. So Snare's taken these key hunters a bit more safely and killing them. It's possible to use a plasma beam to clip your way through them. But if you do it wrong, you end up tanking a hit and the key hunter is still alive. So it's a bit scary. And Nevdi sets up for the speedball, saving the need to bomb out those blocks, and it's a really swag strat to get out of that room. So with all the health in the world, Nevdi can sort of YOLO his way out from Lower Norfair. But he's going to try and use his plasma beam to clip through the key hunters in the next room too. So SnareRush will be working his way up through Meridia, and then out the top of it, past his ship, and then towards the Golden 4 statue, which only sinks into the ground after all 4 bosses have been defeated. And that's the sort of the second break of the run before the final section. It gives runners like a breather, and so, you know, time to refocus. I'm going to farm up a little bit of health, but for ammo he is stacked. He really doesn't need much more. Now there is the option for a refill and a save at the ship, but given the ammo situation for both runners and that Metroids drop a lot of health, I can't imagine either of them are going to save here. And SnareRush just blasts straight past the ship, straight through Parlor. And a very nice super drop. And Nevdi is going to make his way through Meridia too. So now at G4, Snare gets some time to collect his thoughts. A lot of people use this opportunity to practice their horizontal bomb jumps. But we're going to have to wait for that statue to crumble into the ground before the floor breaks away and the elevator is accessible. As Snare takes his elevator down into Torian, got Nevdi working his way back past the ship. He's got a little bit less health, but he should still be fine for the Metroids. So he also gets the space boost through. Snare in the first room is opting to shoot the Metroids one by one. There is a gathering strat where you get them all latched onto you and then kill them all at once. It's a little bit risky sometimes when all the Metroids are on you at once. They drain your health very, very quickly. He gets a super slick room 3 as Nevdi is in his G4 waiting cutscene. And Snare uses missiles on these last ones just to make sure for supers. The risk of soft locking at Mother Brain 1, which needs to be shot with missiles and super missiles, it's a real risk. It has happened in this tournament, and it will carry on happening for as long as this game is being run. With Snare damaging himself down, it looks like he's not going to be trying for Baby Skip, which is a good time save, but it's a very, very tricky trick. And at this level, it's not one a lot of runners are comfortable with. And attempting the skip and failing it is more of a time loss than just not trying it in the first place. As Nevdi goes into his first Metroid room, he is going to be going for the gathering strat. So he gets 2 on him, shoots the third, very nice. So Snare refills his health here. He'll be going into Mother Brain's room with 7 supers and 20 missiles, which will give him 5 missiles extra. The minimum would be 15 missiles and 7 supers. And he's going to be trying to pull off an ice Zeb skip, which he gets first try. So by killing those by freezing and skipping that Zebitite, it stops any of the other Zebs in this room loading, which drastically reduces the amount of ammunition you need for the whole run. It's basically the trick that defines any percent, I'd say. And Snare got a couple, at least one super sniped by that turret, but with enough missiles spare, he navigates his way through MB1, and it looks like Nevdi's going to be trying for Baby Skip. He's got a good start to it. Just needs to get to that rush. Oh, and he gets grabbed right at the last moment. That's really unfortunate. So this is going to be 20 charge shots for Snare. After 16, Mother Brain will fire a catch-up beam, and the catch-up beam is the real run killer. It has the potential to hit up to 3 times, and with 1 extra health tank you can take 1 hit, but if you take 2 or 3 then you are dead. But he dodges all the catch-ups, gets to the rainbow beam, and he's looking in really good shape. That was a really good attempt for Baby Skip for Nevdi. It's pretty obvious he knows how to do it. It's just the end part is the hardest, I think. Yeah, he's also coming in with 20 and 7, and he gets through the ice Zeb skip first try. Having picked up Ridley's tank, Nevdi will have even more leeway for the Mother Brain fight for taking damage. He gets through a very clean Mother Brain 1, whilst the Baby Metroid cutscene is playing for Snare. So it's been a really close race. They've often been on the same boss at the same time. So Mother Brain is going to kill the poor Baby Metroid, but in doing so gives Samus superpowers And Nevdi starts his catch-up phase. Very nice. Nevdi with a super clean MB2. And Snare is pumping Mother Brain full of rainbow beam shots. Hyper beam. And that is one dead Mother Brain. So, with just an escape in the way, now we'll have a couple more rooms to navigate. But he's looking in very good shape. Really clean Mother Brain 3 means he's got a lot of health to play with. So he's working his way up through the Leodox room. And he gets the last moonfall of the game. And he avoids getting Leodoxed. So now he'll spark up in the climb. You can see which one he goes for. He goes for the Behemoth Spark. Very nice. This is a super sick pace as Nevdi's baby Metroid dies and he's going to start his Mother Brain 3. Snare's having a little bit of trouble in Parlor. Is it going to be a sub 52? Steam, please. Let's go. Very nice. Snare finishes his timer at least, but not in SRL, with a time of 51:59. But he should probably type .done in SRL at some point, as Nevdi starts his escape. Snare. Cool. And Nevdi works his way up through the first escape room, and SnareRush does finally .done with an SRL time of 53:08. And Nevdi's in the Leodox room. Looking for maybe a high 53. Nevdi also avoids getting Leodoxed. Ooh, and Nevdi unfortunately sparks a little bit too far to the right, but he gets the backup.
Hello?
And we got Snare in here for an interview.
Yeah, what's up, paper?
GG, dude.
Fancy seeing you here.
I know, right? How do you feel about that run?
Pretty good. It's nice to PB in a race.
Yeah, man.
The start was quite bad. A lot of the start was quite bad, but I guess that just goes to show you should always finish your runs, because they might PB.
Oh yeah, I'm a big believer in not resetting early. But I mean,
Yeah.
your bombs time is really good, and you got quick kill, and
Yeah, it was still fine. I don't know. Dragon was awful, but and Phantom wasn't great. But that's always the case with my PBs, pretty much.
yeah, like missing that Dragon is
Yeah, it just threw me
kind
off
of bad
totally.
times.
But I'm glad I was at least able to do sparks after that, because I've been struggling with that for a while. But I missed the opener, but I was able to do a bunch of sparks after that to kill her. So
Yeah, it was a nice recovery for it. It's really easy to get rattled.
yeah, exactly.
And we got Nevdi here too. GG, Nevdi.
What's up, Nevdi? GG.
Hey, GG. Snare.
Mm-hmm.
Snare. Did you just PB in our race?
I did just PB, yeah.
Oh,
Like 47 seconds.
Nice, mate.
Cheers,
Nice.
dude. Cheers.
I was looking over at you. I'm like, Make a mistake. Come on, let's not get past Phil. Let's not get all this.
I made some
Nail
mistakes
everything.
early on. I gave you a chance.
True. Yeah, my was flashed too. I was looking, I'm like, the only little window was Dragon. I'm like, yeah, he's stuffing up Dragon again.
Yeah, it was totally. It was awful.
Man, you're one Dragon off of sub 50. Good run, man. That was nice.
Yeah,
Thanks
I mean, yeah,
that's a good one.
like the start of my run was all red basically, but my Norfair was pretty good, so low Norfair.
Yeah, I mean, your real opportunity, Nevdi, would have been just Snare carrying on to forget to dot done in SRL.
Yeah, exactly.
He finished
almost
about a minute before he finished off in the race.
I'm not used to racing.
That'd be
Yeah,
nice
that-
entertainment, too.
How do you feel about that run, Nevdi, as well?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like, I think you got to be happy with a 54, I suppose, if
Yeah.
I'm averaging around PB. Fantoon's always a problem for me. I hate going in there with one power bot. You know that little
Yeah.
farm room before Fantoon? If I go in with one, it's always a bad fight.
Mm.
But everything else is, yeah, it was okay. Early game was bad, but so was Snares, so good run. Happy to lose to a PB. And Snares.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but before this run, our PBs were 1 second apart. We
Yeah,
both
I know.
PBs since the start of the tournament, and they were 1 second apart.
Yeah. Geez, that's close. Oh well, now we've got the gap a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's still a pretty close race, I would say.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
only
yeah.
a couple of minutes in it, so.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like if both of you put together like the best parts of your runs, you're running at a really, really similar pace still.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
which bits happen in which runs. You know what
Yeah.
Just take the best of both. Yeah.
I mean?
The Commonwealth
Super
run.
Yes.
Well, I'm off. We got a morning here, so I'm gonna enjoy the day. But thanks heaps for commentating. Thanks to everyone for watching. Snare, thanks for the race.
Yeah, thanks,
knew it was gonna
everyone.
be a good one. So
Thanks for getting up early as well, so I didn't have to.
all right, GG.
And
guys.
yeah, thanks,
Thanks
Paper, for stepping in.
GG, Nevdi.
GG's, everyone. Thank you.
Cool. So
Cool.
that about does us. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I believe this is the only race today, but
Yeah.
there should be
It's you next,
a
isn't it?
whole
Tomorrow?
bunch tomorrow. Yeah, there'll be 5 races tomorrow,
Nice.
starting at 5 a.m. EST. So that's maybe one for the Europeans.
Yeah.
But then we've got races at 11, 1, and then 6 and 9 in the evening. So there'll be something for everyone.
Exciting.
But yeah, it should be a really good day of racing tomorrow.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
Cool. Thanks for
And
watching, everyone.
we'll see you soon.
See you next time.